onto this very meaningful project. Right. Before we dig in, uh, any maybe you want to give us a very quick intro about yourself, Taylin?
Yeah, super quick intro. So I was actually a musician who became a college teacher, who became a ghostwriter kind of on accident. I like to joke that I love teaching, but I didn't like being broke because I made like not very much money as a college teacher at all. It was a level up from broke starving artist, but it wasn't like where I needed to be. I wasn't able to basically travel. I had to say no to seeing family around the holidays sometimes because I didn't even have enough money to go and see my parents and whatnot. So I ended up wanting to get into online business, but I didn't know how at all. Like I was very new to it. I didn't have any marketing experience prior. And I just through meeting people and stumbling into the online space, I ended up writing on Twitter for 6 months, part-time after work and on the weekends. And that eventually led to me getting my first client, which radically shifted my mindset and changed everything when I got into ghostwriting. And I've been basically not a solopreneur, but I have a co-founder who's my best friend from high school, a duopreneur. I don't know what to call it. Tribalpreneur. I don't know. But it's been the two of us just writing online for the past like 4 years, just having a blast. And it's really changed our lives. So that's my super quick backstory.
Yeah. So there's this very interesting thing that you mentioned. You enjoy teaching, but you don't enjoy being broke.
Yes.
So it's a very interesting concept because it's something that I've been pitching myself. I always tell my mentees and all my followers that I embrace ikigai myself. So in ikigai, it is what you are good at, what you really enjoy doing, what the world needs, and also what the world is ready to pay for. Right. So it actually magically combines your passion, your vocational skill sets, together with the demands needed by the world. And also there's actually a group of people who are ready to pay you for the services, right? So this is something that I always embrace. And yes, the part where you say that, and then so so uh so were you still teaching when you started the part-time Twitter? This in the story you wrote that you there's your someone challenge you to write in Twitter for a year, 365 days, right?
Yeah. So I was teaching and I met a guy at a coffee shop who was doing like crazy money on Twitter. It was like 30,000 a month or something. And I couldn't refute it. Like I seen his business. He showed me how it worked. He like showed me his bank accounts. Like I like shit. Like I actually can't even deny it. Like unless this guy is one of the best scam artists I've ever seen, like this is real. And he said, I think you could do it too. You've read a lot of books. You're a college teacher. You have probably a lot to say. Promise me you'll write online every day for a year because I promise you that if you do, it'll change your life. And I just was like, what do I have to lose? I guess I'll do it. So I posted on Twitter the next day and I had no idea how I was going to make it work. I didn't know how I would make money on Twitter. I didn't even know if it was possible. I didn't have it all figured out. I was just like, okay, if this guy figured it out with Twitter, I will just start moving in that direction and I'm sure I'll figure it out as I go. And yes, I worked full time while I did it for a year actually. So it took me 6 months of working full time and learning to write online, learning hooks, how to build followers and audience, how to like basically launch offers and how to do ghostwriting. That took me about 6 months to just get all the basics. And then it took me another 6 months of actually running my ghostwriting business pretty much full time while I was teaching full time. And then I ended up quitting my job almost a year to the day that I started writing on Twitter. It was like 2 or 3 days off or something. It was almost a year.
Okay, okay. So there's this very interesting. So you started off. I mean, I also told you before. I started off as zero idea what I want to do.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so that is very true. But at which point, or when you started, you already somewhat know that you want to offer ghostwriting?
No. So when I started on Twitter, the main thing was first it was just, can I be consistent every day? And that was really hard at first. I had all this fear. Oh, I'm going to post something. I'm going to get roasted. Someone's going to tell me I'm wrong. Someone with like a PhD from Harvard or something is going to like roast me into oblivion. So it was really hard for me to even just post consistently. And it took me like a couple of months to get used to that. Once I was posting consistently, it was like, okay, well, now I'm posting consistently, but my stuff is getting no engagement. Like, I feel like I'm wasting my time. That was one of the hardest parts. So then I was like, "How do I solve that?" And once I started to get decent engagement, then it became, "Okay, well, likes ain't cash," as, the saying goes. I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
getting engagement and, like, I'm getting followers, but I'm not getting any money, and I'm essentially doing this not to become famous on Twitter or something. I'm doing this to quit my job."
Pay
So
the
then it
bill.
was, what are ways to do this? Like, how can I quit my job? And there was just other people on Twitter at the time who were like, "Hey, I'm making money ghostwriting," like Dakota Robertson, JK Molina. And was just like, "Oh, I've seen a few people say that they're charging like 3K a month, 4K a month for this." I was only making $3,000 a month as a college teacher, and that's Canadian, by the way. It's like $5 US when you do the conversion rate
Yeah.
because my dollar's so terrible. So I was like, okay, well, this actually seems viable. If I can get one ghostwriting client and I could keep one client, I could quit my job because I didn't make very much money. I didn't have a family, I didn't have kids. So I was kind of fortunate that I started at that time in my life.
Mm.
And I found ghostwriting probably like 3 to 4 months into my journey of writing, but I didn't come into it like immediately. I kind of discovered it along the way.
Okay. So so the part is very interesting. So is there any thought process or decision making process that tells you, okay, I should dive down into ghostwriting? Because I'm very sure when you first started, your tweets are they are not aligned towards ghostwriting, right? I mean, you try to, I mean, whenever, as long as we don't have a content strategy, probably our posts are everywhere. And I'm very sure the moment you decided that you want to go into ghostwriting, then you suddenly you thought of a content strategy, you thought how to funnel and lead people to know that you are offering ghostwriting. So is there any decision making that's okay, I must do this, and then you just start doing it?
It's funny that you asked this question because, like, looking back, like, there wasn't any strategy. Like, I just did not know what I was doing. I can't even lie about it. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, okay, I know I want to ghostwrite, but I don't have any social proof. So I
Yeah.
messaged this guy who was ghostwriting and said, "Can I write for free?" And he laughed in my face, was like, "No, you suck." And I was like, "Please, please, I'll write for free." And he goes, "Fine, write me this thread on like Christian, like semen retention or something weird like that." It was super bizarre. I thought he was just trolling me, but I wrote it anyways. And I was completely embarrassed about it. And I sent it to him. He's like, "Oh, this is pretty good, actually. I'll give you some more work." And then he started giving me more ghostwriting work. So I started to get experience. And this wasn't really a strategy at the time. I just didn't know what to write. I just started accidentally building in public. So then I would
Okay.
start posting like, "Hey, I ghost wrote this thread on Twitter and it got this much engagement, like crazy. A couple months ago, I couldn't even like write a viral tweet. Oh, hey, like writing for now like 3 clients on Twitter. This is so crazy." And that was when my account started to see a lot more traction. Like in hindsight, with the strategy I have now, I understand that doing real things and documenting the process in a way that is relevant to the audience is one of the best ways to build like an audience and a cult following and grow. But back then it was like I just didn't know what to write about. So I'm like, here's what I'm doing and here's how it's working. And that has ended up being how I built my initial core audience base, was just being like, I'm learning to ghostwrite. And it ended up working
Yeah.
quite well.
Yeah. Since you talk about that, I also have a similar experience when I first started. I
Mm.
have a tremendous resistance towards build in public.
Okay. Yeah. You had resistance to it.
Huge resistance. I cannot find myself. Maybe I'm an Asian. It's an Asian thing. I can only show something that is complete. You know,
Ah.
the is a Asian mindset. I think it's an Asian mindset. Whatever I show, it has to be. it has to be marketable, it has to be complete, it has to be near perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think yeah, I it took me a lot of effort to be able to say, hey, I'm working on this.
Yeah. How did you learn to overcome that and start to share what you were working on?
I think it was really looking at everybody because when I first started, there's already a huge. I think built in public really is coined by the SaaS developers previously.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly coined by that. When as they are building the SaaS, they start to build in public. There's a hashtag, and then suddenly all the creators just use this build in public concept. But what I did is I just look at all the build in public tweets. I will search build in public thread, and then I see what are they doing and how do they do it. Because I have zero idea what is build in public. I know roughly, but how to structure the post, the tweet,
Yeah.
or the post. It is not something that we are taught in school.
No, I wish we were. That would be cool. How to
Yeah,
build a Substack in public. Great.
yeah, yeah. So in fact, now that you mentioned the build in public, I know about you because of your notes when you say you want to build in public, build 500 paid subscribers.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that is the post that I saw, and then I follow you and then subscribe to you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. You're making me think that because it is like a business term, maybe I should change it to create in public or something. I don't know. Maybe there's a better
Yeah.
term for it than build in public.
Okay,
But
but that you have to overcome the perception because build
yeah.
in public is such a well known uh term already, right? So
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
difficult for you to. But everybody is using build in public. But I feel that maybe you can explore some more. I think build in public is a very it everybody is trying to do it, but not. I feel not many people are very good at doing it, especially in terms of service provider. For example, ghostwriter. How do you build in public as a ghostwriter? So you publish a few tweets, and say that, oh, this is my client's work. I mean, given provided that the client allows you to publish it, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it is really tough. I actually get this question a lot, and I'm preparing to do like a full podcast on it because people say, okay, it's great. Build in public. What do I post? How do I do it?
Precisely,
Right. And
precisely.
then sometimes people do it and they're like, oh, I'm sharing stories. I'm sharing what I'm doing, but no one seems to care. Like it's not really landing with people.
Yeah,
And what I've found for a good build in public is on the macro, like the big picture, people should know what goal you're working towards, which is why I made it really clear in my series. I'm building my paid newsletter to 500 subscribers or paid subscribers in public. Here's what I'm learning. So that people know what that goal is. And they're like, okay, I want to go with Taylin on this goal. And it doesn't even have to be a lofty goal. It can be I'm building my first product. I'm launching my newsletter and I'm learning how to write my newsletter. So it's like you need a goal and then it can be learn in public, build in public. I kind of joke you could like cook in public, just don't have sex in public. Like just don't do that. That's the only one. Just don't do that in public. But then in
okay.
terms of per-
And
sorry.
because and because you mentioned that was the very part like how I mentioned how I joined you in your build in public quest to 500 paid subscriber, and especially when you say the goal, I think the build in public the goal is very important because at that point of time you attract the correct people to walk with you in your journey, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, but
Totally.
that's not easy. That's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And that's why I say like people that do build in publics, I feel like there's this perception that they have to do this really big lofty goal. I'm more just saying that like, just do real things and tell people about it. Like, that's how I think about it is, like, whenever I'm stuck on content, I'm just like, "What did I go through this week? What did I work on?" And if you're someone who is working on something, building a project, learning something new, like, there will be things to document and talk about. And then in notes, you can share, "Here's what I tried, and here's a mistake." Because you do wanna make it relevant to the audience. You can't just be sharing, like, "I'm building this thing," like, that's kinda boring. There always has to be a takeaway for the audience, like, you're an authority because you're doing the thing and you're one step ahead of them. I even say, like, reading in public would be one of the most easy things to do. It's like, "Here's what I'm reading this week. Here's, like, my biggest takeaways. Here's how I'm implementing them into my life. Here's where it contradicts my other information, but here's what you can take away from it." For a newsletter, like, I'm learning to write my newsletters. This week, I'm working on the intro. I tried intros like this, and I found that, like, it didn't resonate, or I didn't really like how they came out, so I tried this new framework, and look at how much better my intro is. Here's, like, why this
Mm, mm,
works. It's just,
mm,
like, really sharing what you're doing and what kinda lessons people can take away from that, as well as the emotional experience of what it's like to build something. I think that's
mm.
really missed when people are building in public is and, okay, I'll say something funny. I sometimes get messages from people, and they'll be like, "Dude, are you okay?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Well, you seem, like, really depressed or, like, stuff's, like, not going well in your life. Like, are you sure you're okay?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh,
From one
there's
of
this."
your posts.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, there's a note, and you said that you tried this thing and it failed, and you, like, felt like a loser. Like, dude, it's okay, man. Like, you're like, it's just keep going." I'm like, "Dude, yeah, like, I'm not trying to be a victim here. I'm just saying that not everything goes right, and sometimes, like, it feels bad when you make a mistake, right?"
Yeah,
Like, I think there's so much of that emotional experience to share, and the fact that people message me and are like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I think this needs to be more normalized." Like, you're
yeah,
allowed to fail at things. You're allowed to just not feel good. You're allowed to wake up and say, "Oh, I don't really wanna write today, but I'm doing it anyways,"
yeah,
without
yeah,
not
yeah.
being okay. Like, that's a part of building in public as well.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I think people, I mean, online influencers over glorified success, right?
Mm,
Everybody just 10K this week, 20K last month, 50K, but nobody talk. Very very few people talk about. Oh, I have zero sale today. you know. So
yeah.
I think yeah, that's some part that I agree with you. People have to normalize this. But I think the magical part is that you are able to get your based on someone who DM you, you're able to get people to be emotionally invested in your story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Sorry, were you asking how to get people emotionally invested in the story? I think I missed that.
yeah. So that part I'm very interested to find out more because I told you I'm still a learner in copywriting.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to improve. I want to be better every single day. Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe that part you can.
I okay, I have a theory that people like people who are like them or like who they wish to become. So whenever I'm sharing stories, I want the ideal audience that I'm trying to speak to either say, when Taylin was starting or where he is right now is where I'm at. So with like start trying to get my first client, like when I was telling that story, I really took time to be like, what was the experience like when I was a beginner and I didn't have that client? And I'm like, okay, if I remember correctly, I really was wondering if I was wasting my time. I was really exhausted doing this after work. I genuinely like felt like this wasn't going to work, but I was just doing it anyways on blind faith. And I like to believe that I'm not the only person who went through that in getting their first client. So when other people read that, they're going to say, "Oh, Taylin is just like me." Or Taylin is like who he was before is where I am now. And I think they see themselves in that. So then the other flip side of that is as you create more and you become more of an authority and you actually get some wins, I want people to not really see me as like this unreachable creator or someone who's like made it because I don't feel that way. I want them to see, oh, it's possible for a writer to make a full time income on Substack. Oh, it's
Mm,
possible Taylin is an example of an embodiment of what is possible. And like, I actually want those same goals achieved. So it's like, what are the goals other people have? And can I show that I'm either working towards them or I've already achieved them? And here's how. And that's how
Mm,
I think about that. And a lot of that comes from being more raw and more honest about the subjective experience that you have. Like that's a storytelling tip I really like to lean into if we're getting a bit more tactical. There's this manga I'm reading. It's called Vagabond, and it's basically about sword fighters or like samurai, based on like Musashi, the famous samurai from Japan, I believe. And there's these like chapters in this book where the characters are just staring at each other, waiting to fight, and it's like 3 chapters in a row where neither of them has made a move. They're
oh
just
my God.
staring at each other, and, like, the one character's like, I'm frozen, why am I so scared?" And the other character's like, "I think he's frozen, maybe I have him, should I make a move?" And then the guy's like, "If I don't make a move, he's gonna think I'm scared," so then he kinda, like, moves his eyes a little bit, and the other guy's like, "Wait, maybe he's not afraid of me." And it is just shocking to me how engaging a story can be if nothing is happening, but you are sharing what is going on in here and in your emotional state.
Mm,
But when I go to write a story, I try to remember that, like, not only what is happening, what is the subjective experience that I am having around what is happening? Because that actually tends to be the most compelling part of the story.
mm, mm.
I hope I answered your
Yeah.
question with
Yeah.
that.
And I think that's the part I'm not very good at articulating. The
Mm,
I'm I would say I'm rather okay to write about tactical stuff,
yeah.
but I think the emotional, what goes on in my mind, because whatever I write out is already processed and over and done with. The
Mhm.
processing is done, right? Uh, so I think what I need to do is also to write down what has been processing.
Yes. Yeah, that would be great, like, writing down the the processing, like, if you're working through writing something, like, where are you getting stuck? What, like,
Mm,
contradictions or what things are you like, "Oh, I don't fully understand that yet." And, like, document that process. Like, it's we're in the age of the internet where everyone's making just, like, big claims and saying they've got it all figured out. I think people really love the people who don't have it figured out. I do. I just really think it's, like, a
yeah, I
movie.
see that all the time. I see that all the
Yeah.
time. Are you still active in Twitter? X.
I post not really. Like, I would say that I post on Substack as my primary platform, and I
Okay.
repurpose my stuff from Substack to X and to LinkedIn with minimal changes, and I consider those platforms as, like, I'm managing it as opposed to I'm trying to grow on those platforms. I'm just like, I'm
Okay.
posting content there, but I'm not, like, active. I'm not commenting or engaging with other people. I'm not DMing people. I'm just, like, all in on Substack because it's so fun.
Okay. Okay. So same here. I'm posting in only two platforms, Substack and Threads. I
Nice.
used to be quite active in X when I first started, but X got so overwhelmed by political stuff.
Yeah. Totally agree. It changed so much. I miss old money Twitter. Old money
Yeah,
Twitter is
yeah,
like,
yeah.
forever hold a place in my heart. Like old money Twitter was just so good.
Yeah. Now is everything is just political stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm Singaporean. W-
Mhm.
At the ground level, it has got nothing to do with me. I just find
Yeah.
interesting to read about those, but it really has got nothing to do with me. So I left and I went to Threads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to your story. There's another part I want to ask you.
Sure.
I actually have a lot of questions. The part whereby you spend another 5,000 on the coaching program, on top of you having that.
Yeah.
If I were you, I wouldn't do that. So tell me, what was your thought process when you actually go into deeper debt?
Yeah. So, okay, for more context on this and for people listening that haven't read the piece,
Yeah.
um, so I was like really in debt when I was trying to make it writing online. And one of my good friends now, Dakota Robertson, offered to coach me one to one. He didn't even have a public coaching program. I would be the second person he ever coached. And he just offered it to me randomly. He's like, "Yeah, I'd love to coach you. It'll be 5 grand US." I'm like, dude, that's like I think it was like 7.2 thousand Canadian or something at the
around that.
time. I was like, that's a lot of money. Like, I only make 40,000 a year, like before tax. Like, it would take me forever to pay this off.
And
And
that's
I
a
had,
quarter of your
yeah,
quarter of your annual.
a quarter of my annual, and I was already in debt just from making other bad business choices. And I was just like sitting there thinking, like, should I do this? Should I not? And the things that were going through my mind were, okay, maybe this will work. And this is finally the thing that works. And I go all in on it and it changes my life. And then the other part of me was like, maybe I'm about to get like scammed again. Because I had paid for mentors in real estate. I'd paid for other business mentors before. That's why I was in so much debt. And I hadn't had a single mentorship program like get me the results that I was looking for. And I'm a big part of the problem of that. I just wasn't doing this stuff. But this time I was like, I just for some reason felt like it was gonna work. And I don't know how else to explain it. I was like, I'm willing to take this shot. And it was really irresponsible. Like someone actually quoted, I think it was like, maybe it was the one you did or I did. Someone like quoted it on Substack and was like, my favorite part of this story is how Taylin actually admits this was extremely irresponsible. And I'm like, yeah, like it was. Like in hindsight, if that wouldn't have worked, like it would have taken me years to pay the debt off. Um,
Yeah.
it was a really irresponsible decision, and it just happened to work. So I'm not really recommending that people go into debt and like invest in coaching programs. Even when I do sales calls for my coaching programs and people say they're in debt, I usually will not sell them into the program. I don't believe in that. It just so happened for me that that Hail Mary worked, but it was a very
Is that is that
irresponsible risky
is that
decision.
gut feel? Is that gut feel?
When I'm on a sales call,
The 5,000 coaching, is
it was
that
gut feel, yeah. And the thing that was
no
funny
bet?
is like
There's no better explanation.
it was just a gut feel, like, and now honestly, like for whatever reason, so I invested in the coaching program $5,000. I landed my first client 30 days later for 3,000, and then I landed my next client for 3,000. And I was like, and then another one. I was instantly within like a month and a half or 2 months of joining the program. I was making 10K a month US, and I was like, holy shit, this actually worked. Um, and that it just ended up being a really good bet. Like I made back all my old poor investments on this one bet. And as much as this was really irresponsible, I think there's like an important lesson in here about what I call asymmetric bets, which is you want to make bets that, if they don't work, you're not completely screwed like I would have been. That's the irresponsible part. But if they work, they offset like every other loss that you've taken. And for me, this
Correct.
was that bet. Like over the next 4 years, I made life-changing money, like more money than I ever thought I would make just because of this one $5,000 investment. The irresponsible part was that I was just screwed if it didn't work. But I think
Yeah.
more people should make bets like this.
Um. Of course, is I would say the circumstances is very important,
Yes.
right? I think for those who subscribe to me but don't know me well, I have a family. I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I told you, if I'm in your situation with 3 kids, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so it's situational, right? So I think it's very important. I also just now I mentioned is that gut feel. I truly believe gut feel is like a muscle and it can be trained.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like um probably your first gut feel will fail, but by the time you go through your fifth gut feel, it will probably work.
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
right to say
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I think the gut feeling it's basically the culmination of all of your subconscious knowledge. So it's not
Yeah.
when people say, oh, your gut is always right, I'm like,
No,
no,
it's
you're
not.
clearly not someone who acts on your gut feeling, or you would know that's bullshit. Like, it's just like it's the best guess that you have, like the most up to date knowledge that you have with everything that you've learned. The good news is though, if you are wrong with your gut feeling, you'll be course corrected like so quickly. You will learn so
Yes.
fast, and then your gut
Yes.
feeling the next time will be right. So I like what you're saying about the fifth time. You're pretty much right. Like the fifth times, yeah, it's so true. Yeah.
Because you subconsciously you are able, your mind's able to detect all the red flags.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
But the first time you will probably fail.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the first time it will fail. And you know what? Talking about getting good at writing and things like that too, and business, eventually the decisions you make come down to the gut feeling. Like
Yeah.
it's so weird. I can't teach it this way, but when I'm talking about writing, I'm like, hey, you want to use these types of frameworks and you want to, think about this for the hooks and you want to think about these ideas. But eventually, like if someone asked me like, how do you write? I would be like, I kind of just sit there until it feels right. That's just it.
Mm,
Like I've
yeah.
written for
Or
4 years.
you write it until it becomes right.
Yes, exactly. Like I write it and
It's
I'm just like,
repetition.
yes, exactly. It's the repetition.
It's
Yeah.
repetition.
You
because
write it, it
uh
just doesn't feel right.
because
You write it again.
I also have people DMing me. How do I know that my post title is correct? I say you just post. Oh. The first time
Yeah.
cannot. The second time, by the 50th time, your post will look good everywhere in from every direction.
Yeah. You're 100% right. It's like data. You need to like read a lot of stuff that works and post a lot of things that don't work and look for like the differences of those two. And over time, you just have a gut check for it. Like even with my
Yeah,
newsletters, I write it and I'll just read a section and just sit with it and I'm like, it's not right. I don't even know why it's not right a lot of the time. I'm just like, it's just not right. And then I have to kind of think it through and be like, maybe I have to need to edit this or maybe this, maybe this. Like, and then after a little while, I'm like, now it's right. I don't know why, but it's right now. I can just
yeah.
tell. You get
In
there
fact, now that
eventually.
you say this, there are also
Mm.
circumstances. I'm sure you went through this before. You had this exact same post that you posted 2 months earlier ago, and you post again, but this time work.
Yeah. There's an element of luck to it as well. Um, Someone asked me about that today. 'Cause okay, I think this is important for beginners because I have a friend who's, I guess my girlfriend, I'll just say that, who's writing on Substack and she was writing quite a bit and she's like, "Oh, I'm not getting like that much engagement. Maybe my writing needs to be better." And I looked at it, I'm like, "Your writing's actually great. It's just you're just really small, so nobody sees it."
Yep.
So I was
Yep.
like, "I'll actually restack like your stuff when I like it." So then I restacked one of it and it got 100 likes.
Yeah.
And I hopped on a call there, I was like, "See, I told you your writing's good, it's just that nobody sees it." So you're right, like, sometimes
Yes.
you post it and it doesn't do well, and other times you post it by total fluke, Anfernee, like, restacks it and it goes viral.
Then it has to be you. It has to be from you.
That's it for me. Uh,
I mean, yeah. What a lot of people always feel. I mean, since you're talking in the topic of ghostwriting, definitely. To me, I personally always tell my mentees that you don't worry about posting repeated content because chances are people don't realize it or they had never read it.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%, man. I'm actually in terms of what I'm doing right now, because 'cause I've been writing on Substack since March, um, I've realized that I have so many new audience members that haven't seen my stuff, and even if I
yeah,
didn't, I would still do this. A lot of days, I just scroll back like 2 or 3 months in my content and literally copy paste stuff and just post it again, and it
don't
works.
worry. I'm
It's like
I'm doing that as well.
yeah, yeah, we want people to see it. Like, as you said, most people don't see it. You have new audience members that might not have seen it or definitely wouldn't have seen it, and it's time to, like, bring those ideas up or to, like, help those ideas stick in people's minds more by seeing them again. So I love that you do that.
Correct. I'm a bit of a system freak. So for me, I do have a certain way of demarketing which are the evergreen contents, and then I will actually keep them in my mobile phone so that I can just post them. My
Smart.
cadence of posting, evergreens. So I have my own thoughts, post notes that I don't usually repeat. But for the evergreen, I always repeat them every month. Actually,
Oh, every month? Like,
yeah,
post
every month.
without any edits, just, like, post for post?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Initially I tried it out. I was worried that people say, "Hey, you post again," but nobody cares actually. People
Yeah.
just like.
Yeah, it's true. I can and 4 years of, like, reading content on all these social media platforms, like, intensely, I've maybe only noticed like 2 or 3 times if someone's reposted something, but it only is because I happen to love that post so much
Yes,
that when I seen
correct.
it again, I was like, "Oh, I've seen that one before," but good reminder.
Yes,
I love it,
yes,
you know?
yes.
Yeah.
I also of course there are a few very glaring repeated posts that I see in Substack notes as well, but for me I'm okay. I just like again I wouldn't mind reading the same good stuff.
Yeah. Hey, a lot we always read the same books. At least maybe I do. Like, I've read Atomic Habits, I don't know how many times now. It's just a great
I
book.
read 3 times,
3
three
times,
times.
there you go. Yeah, it's that good. So, same with content, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think there's also another question.
Mhm.
I just want to so after you, for those who just came in, and if you haven't read the post by Taylin, please do check it out. There's this portion that after you make the first sale of the 3,000, right? Um, what was the internal mindset that goes through?
Yeah. I'll never forget this. It was like I instantly switched into a new reality. Because before I got that first client, everything I was doing felt harder. You know, you sit down to write and it's, "Am I wasting my time? This is never gonna work." Like, you just can't help but have these thoughts come up if it's never worked for you before. So, for me, it just took so much more energy, so much more forcing myself to be motivated to sit down, and so much doubt. Like, doubt was probably the main thing that I personally experienced. Like, "Oh, you've tried in business 3 or 4 times before. What makes you think the 5th time is gonna work? You've done sales calls before. Why would this one be any different?" But then I literally remember my first client paid the invoice. I opened Stripe, looked at it, and it said 3,000 USD, which was more than I made in a month, and I literally just felt my brain go like, "Let's do it again." It was like instantly, every doubt that I had, like, it all just went away. Now, different ones replaced it. It's like, "Can I actually ghostwrite for this guy?" That was a whole other
Yeah.
can of worms. But in terms of landing the clients, it was like, "Oh, I can do this. Oh, this is possible. Oh, wow, like, I got this money in my account." I'm, like, looking at it, I can't deny that it's real. I can't say that everyone else is, like, a scam artist or that, they're lying. It's like, well, it's actually real for me. Holy crap. And then it
Yep.
and then I was able it was so much easier to get the other clients, but the first one's always the hardest.
Yes. And you mentioned it. That is the part I also want to really emphasize that the part when you suddenly the second thought, right? The second thought is, oh, can I deliver?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the viewers here, if you are still trying to get your first dollar, or you are already a very established solopreneur, I think the concept of making the sales and marketing and the delivery is very important,
Yep.
right? I've seen a lot of solopreneurs out there who are so good at packaging the offer, but the product sucks. Lack of any better words.
Or the opposite.
I know myself because when I first started, I actually paid $500 to buy a program,
Mm.
and when I opened it, I was like, "There's no words to describe how BS it is."
Yeah. It's if there's one gripe that I have with the online space, like, even to this day, it's that a lot of people don't take the product and the fulfillment seriously enough. And that's what gives
Yes,
online business a bad name. Because we've even seen it, like, over the years, we've paid people like $10,000 or $20,000 for coaching or for, some type of implementation. And a lot of the time, like, at over 50%, we've felt like it was a waste of money. So we're like, these
yep,
guys are charging like $10,000, $20,000. And I'm like, this was literally a waste of money. Like, what the hell? And these guys just are so confident, or I don't know what it is, but it's almost like people don't care about the customer and the fulfillment. And that's why they don't eventually scale and go anywhere, because reputation spreads fast. Like, you have to care about the client and the customer. You have to. Like, you have to put everything into it. It's so, so important. I don't think enough people really care about that. They're always like, how do I get my first client? But they're rarely
yes.
like, how do I keep my
How do I
first
delete?
client?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or how do I make this client a continued client,
Yes.
right? I mean, I personally have met with tons and tons of very good marketers, but their products are really uh, nowhere there. So,
Yeah.
which is why I'm always very skeptical towards online learning and coaching program.
Yeah. I've become the same. And a lot of it's like rehashes of other people's programs. I find that it's like the people with the best marketing, I'm skeptical of their products. And the people with the worst marketing, I'm like, oh, I bet you their product's good.
Okay, but let's not make it a norm. It shouldn't be a norm
No, it shouldn't be.
because
There are
because
people.
because because I personally preach. I always say, I always tell my mentees that you there's no use if you have the best product in the world and nobody knows about it.
Yeah,
Right? So it takes two hands.
it does. And it's hard. Like I do, as much as I don't like that the online space is like this, I'll give some grace to the people who are starting out that, it is actually really hard to learn to market. It's hard to learn to write. It's hard to learn to create a great product. It's hard to also be working full time and marketing your work and creating like products at the same time. Like it is genuinely very difficult. So sometimes stuff slips through the cracks just because people have taken on a little bit too much and they're maybe being a little bit ambitious. Like there's products that I've even released over the years where in hindsight, oh here, I'll tell you a specific example. My first cohort I ever launched, we got like really good reviews for it. So we ran a second version and we implemented a bunch of changes and I got like the worst reviews that I'd ever done launching a product. Like I remember being on a call with them after and they were like, this could have been better, this could have been better. They were so blunt. And I was in a hotel room because I was traveling and I went and sat in the hallway with like my hands in my face and I was like, I failed. Like these guys just invested a month and a half of time with me and paid like $2,500 each. And I'm getting these like negative reviews. And I called my co-founder, was like, I just feel like shit. Like I used to be a college teacher. How did I mess this up? Like, what the hell? And we implemented the changes into a version 3, and then we gave everybody access to version 3 for free. And we did our best to repair that damage. And
Mm,
I was grateful that I came out of it with a learning experience of, okay, here's what not to do with a product. Because that is, like,
mm,
we're going to make mistakes. That's unavoidable. And I'm happy that I did everything I could to make up for that with the people that had bought. But I will
mm,
also admit that it's really hard when you're in the dip. Like when you do make a
mm.
big mistake like that, I kind of wallowed in it for probably like a week. Like it was really
Yeah.
painful.
Yeah, I think for those who are listening, from my personal experience, I usually it is the mismatch of learning outcome and expectation,
Yeah.
right? And most of the time it is because of the way we market it. Um, I mean, some people overpromise, some people misalign the expectation, and then the clients buy into it, thinking that they will get this, but when they get the other thing, it might not be a bad thing, but actually, when there's a mismatch, they will always say, "Ah, it doesn't help me," stuff like that. I think the alignment of the learning outcome is very important in especially for online learning courses, because you don't have a real time human to adjust on the spot,
Yeah.
because it's a fixed content. So I mean, I do adult learning in Singapore, so I'm quite well known for this as well,
Yeah.
right? Okay, but let's spend the last 5 minutes hitting for those who are just starting. They haven't got their first digital dollar, or they got their first digital dollar, but they don't know how to replicate the continuously. You know, those who felt stuck somewhere. What's your advice for them as a ghostwriter?
Yeah. Well, if you're somebody who is starting out and doesn't have your first digital dollar yet, I would say that if you want to just prove to yourself that you can make a dollar, just create something for like $5 to $10, like a paid newsletter, and try to sell it. and do your best to market it, like really put a lot of work into the value and just give it a try. That's for somebody who's like, I don't even know if this is possible. Could I sell anything? Would anybody buy anything from me? If you're someone who has already made your first dollar and you're like, how do I replicate this? Well, I would just say talk to your customer. Like, what did they like about it? Why did they buy? Like this, this is like so underrated. I can't even believe this. Like, I
Just
remember when
ask
I,
them.
yeah, just ask them. Like after my failure with that cohort, I didn't do a product for a little while. And I was talking to my mentor. I'm like, yeah, I want to make sure I don't screw up the next product. He's like, well, have you called every single person that took the previous product and like interviewed them on why they didn't like it and what they did like so you can make the next one better? And I was like, no, like, is that really worth it? He's like, yeah, of course it is. So I did that. I took the time and I interviewed every single person, just quick 15-minute calls. And immediately after, I was like, I know exactly what we need to build. I know exactly why these people buy. I know exactly how we need to market this. It's like, just talk to the customer that already bought. They'll give you all the
Yeah.
info you need.
Or those who didn't buy.
Yeah, or those who didn't buy, they're also equally as important if you have access to that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the part. I mean, for digital products, I always tell my followers that you must do product validation,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, especially for digital products, when we create something, the creator has this mindset that the product is the best, and then it skewed the mindset. You are unable
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
look at it from a third person point of view.
Yes. I've made this mistake. I have spent like 4 months building something that nobody wanted, and it is one of the most painful experiences of my life. Let's just say it only took doing it once to never do it again.
Yeah. So instead
Yeah.
of spending 4 months, then you know. I mean, then you know now. Oh, let me just ask if anybody wants it.
Yeah. 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 Just ask. I like micro offers for that. Like if you really think it's validated, like do a little mini version. Like
Yep.
I'll give you an example. There's a product that I've been thinking of doing for a while. And I was like brainstorming with a friend, like, should I do it? And I was like looking to validate it. And then he's like, why don't you just do like a 4-day training? Like, hey, this is like 4-day training, and then we'll go through like XYZ and see how many people buy. And I
Yep.
was like, yeah,
Yep.
actually great. Yeah, very low effort. Let's do it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's very important. And in fact, this is why I gather all 20 solopreneurs with different product offers, with different house, different strategies, so that all the subscribers can really have a macro idea. Because I truly believe that success cannot be 100% duplicated,
Mm.
right? You Whatever works for someone might not necessarily work for you, right?
Yeah.
You can read, you can study their strategy, everything, but if you try to do everything the same, it might not work for you. That's why
Sure.
yeah. So something is different somewhere, which is why I gather 20 solopreneurs come together and then everybody share. But thank you for your time today. Uh, I promise it's 1 hour or less.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you
No,
so
thank you for
much for
having me.
sharing. Thank you
Yeah, it was
for
fun.
so much for sharing your journey. It's wonderful.
Mm.
For those of you who just joined, you miss a huge chunk, but it's okay. I'll post this in less than 10 hours time, so that y'all can read it up and check out the recording. Okay. And any last words for the viewers who are here? There's 79 today. Thank you, Teddy.
Yeah, yeah, 79. Thank you to everybody who showed up. This was awesome. And thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. If there was any piece of advice I had for someone looking to get their first dollar, it's like your first dollar is 100% possible. It is just so, so possible. It might take a little while, but you can figure it out. So just go for it. That's my last piece of advice. Just go for it. You can do it. And I lost your video. Okay, you're back now. Oh, got the Singapore internet
Okay,
lag.
I'm back.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Please continue the journey with me as I talk to the second and the third, all the way to the 20th solopreneurs along the way, all the way this whole entire project will last all the way until June. All right. So if you are here and you haven't subscribed to myself and Taylin, Taylin's Substack. What's your Substack? Taylin Simmonds.
Yes.
You
Taylin
can
John
find
Simmonds,
him.
yes.
Yeah. So please subscribe to him. I read his content. You can, if you are interested in getting more paid subscribers, follow him because I'm doing that as well. Every time you share something, I'll follow and copy whatever strategies and then use it for myself. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
It's an honor.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.